afternoon, everybody, and welcome to another edition of Tyngsborough TV Live. I am Town Media Director Steve Brogan, and this is our Tyngsborough Tuesday segment. I have brought in a special guest that we brought back for another appearance because their appearance last time was just so riveting that I wanted to bring them to you again. Actually, it was a little goof up, so I just wanted to make sure we got a very nice, clear message out from the ladies from Windsoul Studios. Actually, you could hear really good in the last one, too, but the music was there and it bugged me, so I wanted to do it again. Mm-hmm. But anyways, Tyngsborough Tuesday is the segment where I invite businesses from the town of Tyngsborough into the studio to come and tell us about your business. Tell us why you're here, what you do, and how people can take advantage of the services that you offer. So if you want to watch this program, or rather if you want to be part of this program, email me, sbrogan@tyngsboroughma.gov, or you can send me a message through Facebook if you want to do that as well. And also don't forget you can watch this broadcast on a multitude of ways, whether it be on Facebook, on the various pages we share it across, on our YouTube page. You can watch it there. You can also watch it at tyngsboroughma.gov on our video on demand and streaming, and at Comcast Channel 8 and Verizon Channel 29. So you can watch a whole bunch of different ways. And if you're watching on Facebook or YouTube, feel free to chime in, ask questions of the guests, whoever's sitting here, or myself if you want to ask me a question too. But feel free to chime in, and if you've maybe used some of the services, or if you just have a general question, feel free to ask that as well. So with all that said, my guests, I'll introduce them now, are Gail Lax and Julie Iatron from Windsoul Studios. Welcome, ladies.
Well, thank you. Thanks for having us today.
You're welcome. So as I said, you've been on once before. We talked to you about what you do over at Windsoul Studios, which is a lovely yoga studio. In fact, I got to get over there just to take a look. I want to see what it looks like.
Yeah,
but the pictures online look really nice of the studio, so it looks like a nice place.
It's a nice, spacious location. Yep. We're pretty blessed that way, yeah. Excellent.
So how long have you been in business, and I guess what got you into doing yoga, and why?
We are just about to hit our 5-year anniversary, which is really nice in December. So we're excited about that. We have a 5-year anniversary on the 15th, I think, of December. Yep. And as far as the studio itself, I had actually been teaching for the town. I had been teaching at the recreation center for I think it was a few years, at least two or 3 years of it at the very minimum. And you know, I had developed a following there and had a great little group of people that used to come over to the rec center and practice with me. And I had an opportunity to move into the space that is at the plaza where the AMC theater is.
440 Middlesex Road.
Yeah, it's about to be the 440, I think, is it's coming up with some renovations.
Yeah.
So it's exciting.
Yeah, it's got a huge renovation coming.
Yeah, it's going to be really beautiful. So when we had an opportunity to move in there, we jumped on it, and it's really been a wonderful decision. And the space is beautiful, and we have a really wonderful following in town. So it's been great. And as far as what brought me to yoga, it was a really busy career that I had, and it was very stressful. And
if I might ask, what did you do before?
I worked in biotech.
Okay.
So I did a lot of traveling. I traveled about 80% of my time, and I was mostly working in cell biology and pharmaceutical research. And I was on the sort of the sales end side of it, so helping provide products to people to help with their research. But it meant a lot of traveling, and it was a high stress job. And so I sought out something to help me relax. And I also have a lot of medical background, so I was very drawn to yoga for its ability to calm the nervous system and all the benefits is in terms of mobility and flexibility and the health benefits. So it drew me in that way. And then we sort of joke a little bit that, yoga will change your life. It's not just glorified stretching, which sometimes it gets a reputation for. It really appeals to body, mind, and spirit, truly. And it addresses your emotions as well as your physical body. So, once you're in it can kind of really open you up in a lot of different ways. So not just your hamstrings.
Right. Sometimes you change careers and walk away from something totally different.
Yeah.
Work at a yoga studio. So
that's what we both did, pretty much. Yeah.
Excellent.
Yeah. So,
I like how you put it, where you talk about how it's a whole mind body experience. It's not just stretching. It's not glorified stretching or advanced stretching, I guess, if you will. If you were to just watch it and sort of view from the outside and maybe not hear anything, you probably would think that. But once you hear the yoga instructor sort of talking and the way things go in the class, and then the guided meditation at the end, that's actually my favorite part. I love that part.
Right.
But, let me ask you this: is yoga one of these type of something where if you find a particular yoga instructor that you really like, that people tend to follow that one yoga instructor sort of wherever they go? Or do people not really get into that as much?
There's a little bit of that. We were just talking with one of our instructors about that. I think in certain areas, closer to Boston, you may find a little more of that, where people are moving from studio to studio. But where we are, we have a I would say what's the word I'm looking for? Like broad. I want to say broad selection, but I don't think that's the right word.
Right.
we have a varied group
nice
of
mix.
instructors. That's the way I'll say it.
Okay, that sounds good. There you go.
So everybody has their own strengths and their own specialties, and so we've been very blessed to have the ability to, offer a full calendar of classes, a full schedule of classes, so that they can teach at different times, and we can offer that to everybody. But they don't travel too much around immediately nearby us, so it's not quite like in a city area where you might have 3 or 4 studios very close to each other, and they'll follow people from place to place. So, but it's definitely some of that. We have a couple of instructors that they'll do workshops outside of the studio. They do retreats outside of the studio, and they absolutely have a following of people who go and do their classes locally, their workshops, their retreats. So
okay. I mean, I was thinking of it in terms of like I have a certain person I like to go to have my hair cut because they do it a certain way, and I like that. And so, do they follow their yoga instructor, I guess, if they move from one place to another, or if they end up landing in one spot like you landed in your studio. So now you have this sort of clientele that you've generated that continues to follow you.
I did definitely have some people who followed me from a couple of different locations. I worked at a gym, and then I worked at the rec center, and then they followed me over to there. So there is some of that for sure.
Nice. Yeah. They kind of like your style, I guess, your tempo,
absolutely.
the way you run the classes.
Yeah, everybody's got a different
Right.
style.
I think there's a teacher for everyone, and sometimes you may want to try a few different classes to find, the teacher that resonates most with you, or whose style you like, or type of class, that kind of thing. Because that can make a big difference.
I think that's an important detail about Windsoul also, is that we don't stick to one particular style. If you come to my class in the evening, I do a yin restorative class in the evening. It's very meditative. It's very slow. It's all mostly mat-based work. And so that is definitely not every class that we offer. We did a class this morning before we came here, which was very fast-paced and strong. And, I don't think we did much mat work. We did a lot of plank. Yeah.
But what do you mean? What's the difference between mat work and plank? I'm not following you on that.
So some of the yoga postures are standing. A large number of the yoga postures are standing. And so there's a practice called vinyasa, and that is breath synchronized with movement. So in that particular practice, we will start with standing poses and fold forward, get into plank position, push into the downward facing dog position, a lot of people know, and then step forward and come back up. And it's just a flowing series of movements that we combine with a focus on breathing. But it's usually a stronger class. You may get into an arm balance in a class like that, an inversion, some stronger, more advanced poses. But the class that I teach in the evening is very much geared toward bedtime and meditation.
Okay. So to kind of relax people,
right?
Get them to
So like in those
and
evening and restorative classes, your whole body is usually connected to the mat versus just the feet or the hands and feet.
I see what you mean. Okay, now I'm following you. Okay, I'm thinking back to the yoga class that we just had one yesterday. So I'm thinking back to the things that we do and how that relates. So it's something somewhat interesting. What I find interesting about yoga is my first impressions of it before I tried it myself, which I got to say, I really do enjoy it. I thoroughly enjoy yoga very much. Before I tried it, I thought advanced stretching, basically, and you're not really getting a workout. You're just kind of stretching around. Completely untrue. Like yesterday, I could feel my heart actually like going pretty quick, and we weren't. We're not like running in place or doing anything that you'd think you're getting this cardio workout, but you really actually end up doing it.
Right.
You do get a pretty good cardio workout from it.
There are some poses that even laying on the belly that use the muscles of the back, and you're barely lifting your body off the floor, but it's stuff you don't do every day. And then all of a sudden, same sort of thing. I'll find myself like my heart's beating and my breath is going a little faster, and I think, wow, it's just using these muscles that you're not necessarily engaging while you're sitting at your desk doing work.
Well, a boat is one of them.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
holy cow! You can feel your abs. It's like a really good ab workout.
Yeah.
Your body's shaking and
Yeah, I was
stuff
gonna
like
say
that.
it's hard to do it without shaking.
Yeah, right. It really. I mean, it's almost impossible. I would think,
Yeah.
unless you're, He-Man or something. But
Yeah.
one of the other ones, I don't recall the name of it, but it was you're laying on your belly and you have your arms and your feet outstretched, but then when you breathe in, you're lifting on both
locust
ends.
pose.
Locust.
Yes, there you go, locust, right?
Yeah.
And that's a tough one too. It
Yeah.
looks
Yeah.
like it should be wicked easy, like, oh, I got this, no problem. But then you
Yeah.
try to do it, and wow.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And there are different levels, the varied levels of these postures. So, we can do them kind of a little more beginner level, and then you can start to do them so that you're really lifting, engaging, working with the back body. And they can really get your heart rate going for sure.
Yeah.
Now, what about folks with injuries or prior ailments, things like that? How does that play into their yoga practice if they want to get into this?
It's important to find a studio that has a knowledge of how to work with people with different injuries. So it's a good idea if you have a medical condition or you have joint replacement.
Right, joint replacement is what I was thinking
Yeah,
of. Yeah.
or some sort of similar injury that you first speak with a teacher, make sure that they're able to offer you some modifications for what you need to do, and that the teacher feels comfortable with your condition. So that would be my recommendation, is to always check in. We spend a lot of time, because my background is all medicine. I taught anatomy and physiology for a lot of years at UMass Lowell, and when it was UMass Lowell. Is it UMass?
It's still UMass Lowell.
Yeah, it wasn't that when I went there, so.
Little state, maybe?
Yeah,
Something, I don't know. It's been a few different names. Anyways, yeah.
Yeah. So it's I spend a lot of time making sure that people understand alignment and what's going on in their body, and we teach all the teachers that come, because we serve as a school for people who are learning to teach yoga also. So we make sure that they have a strong background in anatomy and physiology. So usually, you'll be pretty safe in a class with us.
So those two things really do go hand in hand, though, body mechanics and understanding that physiology, and then also the yoga itself.
Absolutely.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Yep.
I think I asked you this last time. How many moves are there in yoga, or how many different not moves, but positions? You know what I mean?
I think there are hundreds.
there's a number.
Originally, there were only 4.
Really?
Yeah, there were only 4. The yoga practice, the whole intention behind the yoga practice is to sit more comfortably in meditation. That was the whole reason it was originated, is to allow people to sit comfortably for longer periods of time. And so there were only about 4 postures, and they were all geared towards stretching the lower part of the body, helping you to be able to sit more comfortably.
Okay.
And then over time, that has progressed and changed. And so, handstands and things like that were not originally one of the yoga poses.
Okay. So that sounds like, to me at least, it explains a lot of the hip opening, those type of movements that there are, and there seems like there's quite a few of those, opens the lower body up, but obviously, like you said, there's a lot of upper body stuff now too.
Right.
Yeah.
That sort of got mixed in. The only one I think I can't really do I can't do it all really, honestly, is the eagle. I just can't do the leg wrap. I just don't have that kind of, I can't roll my leg around like that. I can kind of do it, but it looks totally goofy, So I try it, but it's the best I could do.
It's a little challenging too for the male anatomy, because your hip sockets are a little different than some of the females' hip sockets.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You feel
Okay.
better now?
I do actually feel much better knowing that.
Yeah.
Yes, that explains a lot.
Yeah, because the male hip socket's a little more on the side of the pelvis, and the female hip
Versus,
socket is kind of a little more angled to the front, so it kind of lets them get that cross a little
So it's
easier.
hard
Okay.
for you to do that wrap.
I can.
Yeah.
I can't. I've tried. I mean, even like if I grab my foot and I try to roll, it's not happening. I
Don't
break my
do
leg
that.
off.
Yeah,
no,
don't do
let's not
that.
do that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I
Yeah.
feel much better about
No.
this now. Then.
Yeah.
And then you can say what we say, which is it has to do with your anatomy, not your flexibility.
Okay.
So that whole concept of, you should be able to put your heels on the floor in down dog is really not
another one,
correct.
yeah.
Because whether or not your heels can touch the floor has to do with the shape of the bones of your feet, not whether you're flexible enough through the muscles in the legs to be able to do that. So,
Okay.
yeah.
What are some, I mean, obviously you'd want to go to a yoga instructor to maybe get some of this information, but what are some maybe good resources folks can go to that they can look at, like the forms, so that that must be the better way to explain it, the forms of this, so that they can kind of better understand how they should look, and then, obviously they have to work with in their own structures and body mechanics, but.
Yeah, we're really fortunate in this day and age to have the internet, because YouTube is a great source. It's good to find somebody who has a background and is teaching the correct anatomy, but there are a lot of instructors out there who do that. and you can find a lot of resources. Another great one is yogajournal.com.
Okay.
So the Yoga Journal has a regular publication that comes out monthly, but they have a list of just about every posture you can imagine. They break them down into standing, sitting, core work, back work, you name it. And so they have them all broken down like that, and they tell you not only what the proper alignment is, but what the modifications are, and give you images. In some cases, there are videos. It's really a great resource. So I would highly recommend the yogajournal.com for that.
That's probably a better place to go. I'm always leery of sending people straight to YouTube, only because in my own experience, sometimes when I'm looking for something, and not every time, but sometimes, you go through 6, 8, and 10 videos before you finally find the one that like explains the thing that you're trying to get to. So it can be kind of annoying, but still a great resource, obviously.
And the other nice thing about Yoga Journal is they break it down too by condition. If maybe you're trying to work with migraine headaches, or you're trying to work with an injured hamstring, they might have the poses broken down in ways that could help you benefit that way.
Interesting. Well, I have a question for you. Let me just quickly reset for folks. So just so you guys know, you're watching the Tyngsborough TV live Tuesday segment. This is our Tyngsborough Tuesday segment, where I bring in a local business from the town of Tyngsborough to come in and tell us about their business and why they're here and what they do and how folks can contact them and find out about their services. My guest today is Gail Lax and Julie Iatron from Windsoul Studios, and they do yoga, fantastic yoga services. So if you're ever interested, feel free to check out these ladies. They can, I'm sure they'd be glad to help you. On that note, so my question was, so there's the moves, right, or the forms, and then there's the modified versions for folks who can't necessarily do some of the full, like a plank is really difficult, obviously. And some of these other moves can be discombobulating if your balance isn't the greatest, which mine isn't perfect either. It's funny, I noticed my left side sometimes is less balancy than my right side.
Always
it's really
one
weird.
side.
Yeah, it seems like one side is always off. But you can modify these, so you don't have to do the original form. You can do it a different way, and I'm assuming that you go through, as you do your classes, you'll explain the modified versions as well for folks, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And Julie gets a lot of beginners in her class too, because you do our community class too.
Yep.
So there are always modifications available that you can do. And we try to recognize, we always talk with people. That's another thing for people who are beginning a practice. It can be intimidating when you look at some of the images that are online or in the magazines. And so, we do really try to encourage people to come to a class and just try it, because you're not going to be in a situation where we're barking out the names of poses in Sanskrit,
right.
And you're just, everybody else is moving and you're standing there like a deer in headlights. That doesn't happen by any means. So usually the way we do things is that we'll give you all the cues, step back with your left foot, put your right foot there, soften the shoulders, reach up through the fingers. You should feel it here. You should experience this. If this is hurting, then adjust here. And oh, look, you're in Warrior 1, Virabhadrasana 1, and so that's kind of how we roll, really, in terms of guiding people. So I hear all the time people say, I don't want to come because I don't know what to do, and I don't want to feel lost, and I don't want to be embarrassed. And I say, no, we cater to beginners, and I direct them to any of our classes, really.
I can tell you from personal experience, I felt like that. Only I overcame it, but it's totally not like that. I mean, it's one of those things. The instructor's explaining what to do, where to put your hands and your legs and your arms and feet and everything else, and explaining all the various options that you have, which is nice. So it's definitely not like that. It's not, it's not a stuffy practice, or and it's something I will tell you personally, definitely not a women's only thing either. I very much enjoy it, and I'm sure a lot of men would too. I thought that I was completely unstretchy, like literally had zero stretchiness to myself, and found quite the opposite, actually, that I was able to do a number of the moves except for the eagle one. That's about the only one I really can't do right, because physiology. Hooray.
Right.
So I actually have a good cop out on that one. I love it. Yeah. What are your favorite forms in yoga?
Oh, favorite poses?
Oh.
Yeah.
How much time do we have?
I know.
Plenty. We got plenty of time. Yeah.
I do like the arm balances.
I like arm balances as well. Yeah. So I like some of the fancy ones, but I mean, I also really love a lot. I mean, I love the, like the classic warriors. So Warrior 1, Warrior 2, Warrior 3.
Which are great, like thigh and hip workouts.
Yeah.
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 Or stretches,
I love child's pose.
I know you don't love it, but I love pigeon pose.
I'm better with pigeon now.
Yeah.
I actually like that one as well, the pigeon pose. That was one I didn't think I was going to be able to do, and I got into it, and I'm like, wow, I can actually do this. And then I could get all the way down, and it was impressive.
And that was one where I had to figure out how to make modifications in that pose for the shape of my hips.
Yeah,
Okay.
you have the advantage in that one
Yeah.
over Julie.
Right.
Is that why? Okay, that's
Yeah.
why I can do that.
Yeah.
All right.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
women would have a harder time in that particular pose
Some
as opposed to
women
men.
do.
Some,
Yeah.
it depends. It depends on where their hip socket is placed and and
Okay.
the depth of it. And so I feel like it's a little more of a wild card for women when
Yeah.
it comes to some of the warrior poses, some of the open hip poses, and then stuff
Okay.
like pigeon pose. Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So
And-
there is quite a bit of variation.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Amongst folks that I mean, and it doesn't necessarily have to do with stretchiness. It's just physiology. It's where
Yeah.
your hip
Right.
sockets are. And
Yeah, those
the
are
way
the
that thing
big
lays up.
things are compression and tension when it comes to yoga is kind of helping our clients identify for them what is tension and what is compression. So where's the point where you just are actually bone to bone or tissue to body to body kind of thing, and you're not going any deeper, and no amount of yoga is going to change, where you are in that posture because it's just the shape of your bones and the shape of your anatomy, or whether it is tension. And we can say to you, you know what, you can push a little harder in this one, or you can expect to see progress over time with this one. So,
Okay.
Work it to go a little bit deeper, so that, that becomes kind of the responsibility that we take on, is trying to help people with guidance in that respect.
So just like bodybuilding, you find as you do this and continue on, you'll be able to do better in some of these forms
Yeah.
and poses, as opposed to you're not going to just always be stuck in that same sort of like, oh, that hurts, but I can get there
Yeah.
kind of thing. You'll eventually kind of get your body more accustomed to it.
Yeah. Over
Okay.
time.
Yeah. And I mean, we also try to encourage people to not get really hung up on whether they can or cannot do a pose, because every day your body's different. So maybe you can get into it today and tomorrow it just won't be the same. And I know there are poses for me that I just, over time would continue to work at, and then, 5 years in, finally realized, oh, wait, today I can do this. Because it's 5 years of, working the shoulders.
Okay.
So it's not necessarily something that happens overnight. I mean, it's why we call it a yoga practice. You have to
Yeah.
keep returning to it.
Mhm.
But, we just try to tell people, like, don't get hung up on the pose. Don't chase the pose. It's, we'll joke all the time. It's not yoga perfect. It's yoga practice.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Interesting. That's a good way to
Yeah.
put it. I like that. Yeah, not
Mhm.
yoga perfect is yoga practice,
Yeah.
right? Yeah, because you're right. Every day is a little bit different.
Right.
As
Yeah.
I said, my left side was wobbly yesterday, and my right side was good. And then the week before, I felt like I was kind of balanced on both ways, but I don't know what was different in my head, or maybe I just was breathing better or something. I don't know.
Who knows how you slept the night
Right.
before,
Right.
or did you have to do a lot of driving, or did you change a chair at work, or there's so many different things. People hold their tension in different places.
Yeah.
So what's going on around you,
Mhm.
and that's what we're always trying to encourage everyone is like what's happening around you, what's going on in your mind today, what's going on in your body, what's and find compassion for yourself as you practice. So,
Yeah. And to
yeah.
go back to, talking about modifications, I love to teach from modifications and then move forward. And I don't necessarily talk about it in terms of because you can't do this pose, but so that you're kind of aware as, a yogi, where are the options within this pose, so that when I come to the mat one particular day and maybe I'm just really sore and I want to be able to put my knee down in this lunge, that I have had the experience of doing that, so that even though everybody else is standing, full lunge, arms up, rear knee lifted, I can honor myself and say, I'm tired today, I'm going to put that knee down and be okay doing it and know that I'm doing it safely from, my body.
That's an interesting point, because it's not a competition with the rest of the
Yeah.
class.
No.
You're doing it for you and no one else.
Right.
Although
Right.
I've been to plenty of places where I felt like it was a competition.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, we had a teacher in from Boston once, and he was doing a workshop with some of our members, and he had everybody in a really challenging pose, and it was a pose that probably one that we didn't use as often, just happened to be, and so it wasn't something they were accustomed to. And he said, and if anybody needs a break, you can drop to the knees, and everybody dropped to their knees. And he stopped. He's wait, hold on. And he's like, you guys, you have to sit up. I just have to say something. And he said, if I made that announcement where I teach, it would have been received as almost like, a competitive invitation. He's like, nobody, no matter how bad they wanted to, would have dropped their knees.
Really?
And he said, and I just have to commend all of you for, knowing that it was comfortable to do that you could do that. And I said, that's how we roll here.
Yeah.
There's no mirrors in our place.
Right.
The lights are dim. It's always an environment where we're not trying to compete with each other or with ourselves. And so We always try to make sure.
I mean, that's how it should be. It should be for
Yeah.
you, and not with any of these, whether it's bodybuilding or running or whatever. Well, running might be different because you're running in a race usually,
Right.
but that said, you should be doing it for you and not to just beat the other guy, beat your neighbor kind of thing. That's no good. I feel like that defeats the purpose of the whole thing, because then now you're stressing yourself trying to beat that person.
Yeah.
So on that note, I wanted to mention this or ask you about this. So I've noticed in myself, at least when I start the class, I'm clenching someplace, whether it's my shoulders or my teeth or something is tight, and I'm like doing something. By about halfway through, I've usually kind of worked it all out, which is kind of nice, and you're able to finally kind of relax a little more. It might take some people more time or less, but for me, it's about halfway anyways. Which is kind of nice though, because it feels like you're actually getting somewhere. You're not just sort of in this. You're doing this to do it, and you're whatever happens at the end, great. But it actually does serve a purpose to relax you quite a bit.
Yeah, absolutely, it does for sure. And we have a lot of men that come and practice with us, and I think it's been a really wonderful thing in our studio, because we offer classes that are geared toward men, right? So we offer broga classes that are geared toward guys.
I remember it's the broga classes.
So yoga for the bros, right?
And they do beer too, right? With this
yeah.
Okay,
Chuck does was it broga and brews? I think
so. He'll be upset if we don't get it quite right, but
sorry, Chuck.
He's yelling
I'm sure
right
he'll
now.
forgive you.
He's yelling at his screen right now. He offers it at a local brewery, and I'm sure you can find it. On Relax and Recharge with Chuck.
.com.
We do have a nice male population in our studio, which is kind of refreshing.
Right.
Yeah.
And we have guys who come in, and to your point, where you may feel like, oh, I don't know if I can do it, or if I'm not flexible enough, and so they come into this class because it's geared toward the male physique and in their level of flexibility, and then they come in and they do a class and they go, oh, well, this isn't so bad.
Right.
Like, I could do this, and they start coming to all the other classes. So so we do have a lot of men that come to classes, and actually a lot of couples that come in to class.
I could totally see that. The couples. I got to get my wife to come with me one of these days.
We do like candlelight yoga. The meditative yoga that we do in the evening is candlelight, very gentle, soft music, and so we have a lot of people who come together to that. Actually, we have groups of couples that come, which is kind of sweet.
Really?
It's like their night out.
Night out.
Oh, okay. You ditch the kids on somebody and then
meet up,
go do yoga.
Meet up for yoga.
All right.
It's fun. Then the broga class tends to be, and because it's not just men that come to that class, it's women as well.
Okay.
But there's a large male population in that class, and so a lot of them come as a regular. I think you have date night.
We do have date night. So we go to broga on Thursday nights at 7.
Nice.
My husband and I do.
Excellent.
You like your job if that's where you go on your date night.
Yeah, it's true.
I guess so, huh? I guess that's right. You get to go. Yeah, that's kind of funny. Let me ask you this. Yoga is not the only thing you have at your studios. You have a few other services that you offer. I've noticed on the website and from our previous discussion. So tell folks a little bit about some of those things.
We do offer Reiki, which is an energy healing treatment, and
very interesting practice, by the way. I think that one's fascinating.
It is, and we do Reiki with crystals.
We do,
So we offer some crystal healing treatments too. But for those who don't know Reiki, it's an ancient practice that comes originally from Japan.
Yeah.
And it's really about working with the energy body, about emotional blockages in the body, areas where we store stress that energetically start to interfere with the flow of energy in the body. Because, in the spiritual healing, we believe that there is the physical body and there are the, conditions that manifest in the physical body, but they have root in the emotional body, in the energy body. So when you have something that you're holding on to, whether it's stress or fear or trauma, any of those things can start to affect certain areas of the body based on the type of trauma or the type of emotion that it is. It'll affect different parts of the body, and that can in turn leave you more prone to disease or injury in those areas of the body. So we practice Reiki, which will target the energy in certain areas of the body. So it's kind of clearing the energy blockages in the body.
Interesting. I recall from when I did Reiki. So actually after we talked last time, I was kind of thinking back to when I had done that. And so the woman who did it for me she was a Reiki 4.
Master.
4? So she was a master, right? And I remember some of our discussion and thinking how it she was able to hone in on some areas without. I mean, she knows me, but doesn't know me that well, obviously. But it was able to hone in on certain areas and she was like, you're holding stress here, you have some issues here, and so on and so forth. And I was like, wow. I mean, it was legitimately like, and she wasn't physically touching me at all, which was fascinating. It was the whole energy thing. I mean, again, when I say that it's a fascinating practice, it really is. It's very interesting, and you learn a lot about yourself. You know, things that you kind of already know, but they're validated by somebody else who, you know, says, yeah, you have an issue here. Okay, I actually do, because I can feel it. You know what I mean? You can feel that issue. So it's really something interesting for folks to look into.
Yeah, it is. It's definitely worth having the experience. And on a regular basis, we do what we call a community Reiki share. And we have appointments. They're about 20 minutes, and they're $10 appointments, and we donate all the proceeds from that particular function to different charities, local charities.
That's awesome. Yeah.
And so we give people an opportunity to come in. It's not a very private appointment because you might have multiple. We usually have some of our trainee students working, so you'll have a Reiki master on the table as well as some of the other healers. But you do get like 4 healers, all working on you at once, which is kind of really fun. Yeah. But yeah, you can come in and have an experience and just have a short session, or you can do a private session with one of us at the studio. We have a few healers that work at the studio. So excellent. Yeah. It's a really nice experience, especially even if you don't even embrace the energy work, if you're sort of like, I don't know about that,
people could be skeptical.
Absolutely.
And everybody has it, rightfully so. They have,
and I came from my background was clinical laboratory science. So if it wasn't under a microscope, to me it wasn't real. If I couldn't look at it and on those
something tangible
levels, that was my background. I always had to be able to see it down to a microscopic level, and so I happened to have a Reiki experience. I went and had an appointment, and it was really quite an experience, and that left me I went home and said to my husband, I need to do some research because I don't know what the heck just happened. It can be a real experience like that. And then I really started looking into it. I worked at Lowell General Hospital at the time, and they offer Reiki training there at that time. And so
wait, they offer Reiki at Lowell General Hospital?
They do.
Really? Okay, I didn't realize this. So I mean, it's something that's sort of widely accepted, I guess.
And it's been around as a long time for healing practice, and that was easily 10 years ago that I got certified in that at the hospital. So even as far back as then, they were promoting it. So there are a lot of, I think, Children's Hospital, there's a big center there.
We have practitioners who practice Reiki at Children's Hospital in Boston on the patients and on their families.
Really?
Yeah.
Very
so it's one of the tools that they use in a hospital setting.
Yeah, and every April we participate with Yoga Reaches Out, which is a local organization, or it originated locally, and they've been working, expanding quite a bit. But they support Boston Children's Hospital, so we participate in this fundraiser every year. And they've actually put a wellness center into Boston Children's, and they offer Reiki and yoga and meditation classes to the patients and their families there. Yeah,
interesting. What I've actually thought was pretty interesting as well in the last. I'll say 5-ish years or so, is the fact that even it might be a little longer, but health insurance companies and other, even here at Town Hall, through our HR, yoga has been something that's offered. Like, hey, try yoga; it's good for you. So it's interesting that it's not just go see your doctor; he'll give you a pill for whatever the ailment is, and then you go on your happy way. They're trying all these different avenues to maybe not have to take a pill, because I'm personally, I don't like taking pills, and I don't know how many people really do, but
it's definitely a very viable option. And as I was starting to say, if you don't necessarily embrace all of the energy work understanding of it, Reiki and the various energy healing practices, meditation as well, target the nervous system. So even if you come in and you lay down on the table and you have somebody there who's just kind of holding the space for you, telling you can relax, there's nothing more you need to do, they're going to work with you. And if you're able to relax for half an hour and get into almost a meditative state, and that's really what we target when we're working with somebody, that you yourself are putting your body out of that fight or flight mentality that we are constantly in. It's a physiological condition in the body when we're in fight or flight. And when we switch that off and start to activate the parasympathetic nervous system, then we're getting into what's called rest and digest reflex in the body. And there are physiological changes that are happening in the body that help you get into a better space of healing, so a better space of relaxation. So whether you look at it from a true medical physiological position or you look at it from the energetic position, it's all beneficial, to be able to just have a 30-minute appointment and relax. Yeah.
So much like in the sense that sleep is good for the body because it allows for it to heal. This time period is also good for the body where you can actually put yourself into it to get out of that fight or flight. Fascinating. That really is interesting.
Yeah. If you've ever had a massage or a Reiki appointment, you lay down on the table and it always happens, you're like 10 minutes into the appointment and somebody's belly starts like, and people always go, oh my God, I just ate, I'm so sorry. And I say, no, you're doing it right. That's what's supposed to happen because when we're in fight or flight, digesting your food is a nice to, and fight or flight, that it's not viewed as necessary. So when we kick into the rest and digest, then you've activated the sympathetic nervous system because your body actually starts to digest the meal you ate 3 hours ago, but you've been too stressed to digest. So yeah, it really, you can see it kind of happening as you do a session.
I feel like our society would relax so much if they could just get out of that, because I feel like our jobs put us in that fight or flight constantly. But we could relax so much.
Yeah, we're always saying that too, that, like biologically, fight or flight has always been a part of our makeup. And, if you sort of trace it back, it's supposed to be to help us get away from predators. Well, now we're in this point in life where we're always in fight or flight, and it's
traffic
not,
is a predator.
Traffic is a predator.
Facebook is a predator.
Facebook is a predator. Everything. It's the same reaction in the body, whether it's the saber-toothed tiger or whether it's somebody irritating you on social media. Yeah. So just we're no longer necessarily taking the opportunity to transition from fight or flight into a rest and digest period. We're kind of, more and more in that state of fight or flight, and then your cortisol levels are high, stress is being held in the body, creating tension. So yeah, I think we would all be better if we could just relax.
Maybe we could get everybody to do yoga before they go on Facebook, and then the comments might be much more like.
Actually, the more yoga you do, the less you want to go on Facebook.
Yeah, that's
true.
That's a good point. Yeah, it seems a lot less important. But
that's fascinating.
Yeah. So we offer Reiki, and then we have intuitive readings that happen at the studio too. So we have mediums and psychics that work there, and they work with people also on an energetic level. They're just kind of looking at what's going on around you and how is this affecting you and where are you going and what are some possibilities for, where you might go with your decisions and, those types of things. So
interesting. So if you met somebody on the street and they said, tell me why I should come to yoga, whether it's your studio or anywhere, what do you say to them? What's your 60-second elevator speech?
When people walk into the studio and they say they're interested or they're curious about it, I always ask them, the first thing is, well, what do you want to get out of a yoga practice? Because there are so many different directions you could take that, whether you're looking to improve your flexibility, your strength, your mobility. There's so many physical ways that it will benefit you, even from the nervous system perspective that we talked about. And then there are people who really need stress relief. They have anxiety, they can't sleep, they have insomnia, and they're generally stressed, or digestive issues. That's another big one that comes from anxiety.
Yes, it's excellent for digestion. And I find I sleep better on Monday nights after the class.
And so there's so many reasons. So I usually try to start it as a dialogue with people. What's your situation? What would you benefit from most? And then take it in that direction. But I feel like I'm like a zealot. So when I start to talk about it, I'm like, well, it's just the greatest thing in the world. So
well, of course you're going to say that. I mean, that's and obviously you work for, or you do it, so you would say that. But it's encouraging for folks to hear it, I think, too, from other people who, like myself personally, who I won't say I thought it was a crock, but I didn't think it was as good as it is. I didn't realize what kind of physical workout you actually get out of it. It's like going to the gym and lifting weights. It's that, the cardio and the stretching, and you can feel a lot better. It's amazing.
Yeah, and when you see how people react to you, when I taught Tuesday night at the rec center, I keep pointing toward it. I don't know if that's the direction it's in. Is it that way? Anyway, so when I taught at the rec center, I only taught Tuesday night, and as I said, I had a very stressful career, and I just kept this piece on the side where I would teach on Tuesday nights. And I came home one Tuesday night, and I was chatting with my husband. He said to me, you know what I really love? And I said, what? He goes, I love Tuesday night, Gail. And I was like, what? And he said, no, I mean, don't get me wrong. I love you all the other nights too. He said, but
good recovery.
Just Tuesday night, Gail, is so much more chill and relaxed and easy to talk to. And you know, we were laughing about it, but then I was like, wow, I mean, that's very telling.
That's some good validation right there. Yeah, that it actually does something.
And we had not employee, we had a member who had come into us. I mean, the first several times he came in, you could visibly see how stressed he was.
Really?
And he told us he commuted from the city, and so it was just so stressful for him, inbound and outbound. And he started practicing with us, and you know, we weren't really sure he was going to come back after the first couple times.
Yeah, it was quite,
he didn't look like he was happy.
No, really.
And but he continued to come back, and he's such a wonderful guy. And he told me one time that people actually pulled him aside at work and said, "What happened to you?" I don't know if they thought he had a near-death experience or something, but they were like, "You're different. You know, you're so much more calm and easy to work with." And he said, that's when he came back to me. He was like, wow, you know, I didn't even realize how bad it was. And he said,
really?
But yeah, yoga's like, you know, saving me right now.
Really?
So,
Yoga can make a difference.
It
Very
does.
interesting.
Yeah. So,
all right.
yeah.
So before we wrap this up,
Yeah.
let folks know how they can reach you. We can mention some of the services again.
Yeah.
And then, we'll wrap it up.
Yep. So you can always find us online. We're on social media, and we have a website as well. So the website is windsoulstudio.com. And you can also find us on Facebook at windsoul.studio. And then, yeah, that's right. and you could just search Windsoul Studio.
That's usually what I do too.
Yeah. And then we're on Instagram as well. Yeah. I think we're also on Twitter.
Yep, we are.
I think that happens automatically when we post, but I'm not a tweeter.
Right.
But yeah, we're on there too. So you can find us on all the social media, and you can always stop by the studio and check out a class. We have classes on Tuesday night that are $8 drop-in, and this lovely lady teaches that.
Tuesday, 7 p.m.
Yeah,
excellent.
And that one is just an $8 drop-in. If it's somebody who wanted to come by and try a class, it's open for anybody. You don't have to be a member. And you don't have to be a member to go to any of our classes. You can drop in. It's usually a $15 drop-in, but you can drop in. And we have a special that runs 30 days for $30. So you can come in.
That's a good deal.
Yeah. And we have 25 to 30 classes a week, something like that, depending on the week.
Yeah, we have evening classes 6 days a week, so it's usually at least 3, if not 4 or 5 classes a day.
So you're running about 2 or 3 classes a day during the week for the 6 days?
No. We run about anywhere from 3 to 5 classes a day.
Oh, a day. Okay.
Yeah.
I was doing bad math. Okay.
Yeah, so we have 2 or 3 classes in the morning usually, and then we have another 2 or 3 classes at night.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And then we have classes on Saturdays and Sundays. And when we don't have classes, usually on the weekends we're running workshops. So, we just did a Yoga 101. So for people who are interested in trying a practice, it was kind of the basics, what to expect in a class.
Right.
And we do all kinds of workshops like that. So.
Excellent. And suggested items for folks to bring with them if they want to go to yoga, if they haven't already gone to a yoga class and know what to bring?
Yeah. We have everything that they may need, so you don't even need to bring a mat. We have mats, we have blocks, we have blankets. We really have everything that you might want or need for your practice, and we just encourage people to wear comfortable clothes that you can move in. And just
so don't wear your skinny jeans or
probably don't want to do
spandex.
No,
but if you forgot them, we do sell some too.
We do sell some.
There you go, full
not
service.
Skinny jeans.
We don't have skinny jeans, just tight yoga pants.
Yeah, yoga pants.
But you don't need tight yoga pants to practice either.
And for the guys, you don't have to wear yoga pants. You can wear like sweatpants or shorts, basketball shorts, things like that.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, but we do sell those too.
T-shirt. You don't have to wear a tank top. You can wear a regular T-shirt.
Okay. Excellent.
Yeah, it's not hot yoga too. That's another important piece. Yeah, the room is always just to 74 to 76 degrees, so it's comfortable for practice.
Yep.
Yeah.
I went to check out to get a gift certificate for my wife, and there was a hot yoga class. She wanted to try. It was Bikram. Is that what it's called?
Bikram,
Yes, Bikram. And boy, you could smell that place from the sidewalk.
Yeah, it's hot asparagus.
It's intense. Very much intense. If you're into that, cool. Good for you. But man, that was intense.
Yeah. It's an intense practice for sure.
Excellent. Well, I want to thank you both for coming back again and chatting with us and letting us know
Yeah.
about your business. I personally, like I said, I've tried it myself, and I think yoga is it's a really nice practice. If you're not into bodybuilding or any of those kind of things, or maybe you can't run because of a physical issue or whatever, yoga is really nice. You can work around physical issues. There's modifications. It's easy going. It's not, you're not running around and going crazy or anything. You're just doing some really nice deep stretching and that full mind body breathing, all that stuff. So it's very relaxing. Very, very nice. Yeah. You feel really good. Get that nice euphoria at the end too. You kind of get the tinglies a little bit.
Yeah, they call it yoga bliss.
Is that what it's called? Okay.
Yeah. I've heard stories of them actually putting yoga studios like in the center of shopping malls because when people leave, they're more prone to feel good and shop.
That's interesting.
It is interesting, isn't it? Yeah.
Very. Wow. Okay. Cool. So if you want to find more about Windsoul Studios, you can check out their website. It is windsoulstudio.com. And obviously, like you said, you're on Facebook and Twitter and Instagram and all those fun places too. So feel free to check that out. And the location, you're over at 440 Middlesex Road?
Yeah.
Right up the road.
There.
Good. Okay. And all of the other details, everything else, all the other services you list are all on the website. So you can check that all out there, pricing and all that fun stuff. So feel free to check that out. You mentioned some of the classes and things, the drop-ins and things, which are really great. And if you want to just try it as a beginner, you can. You can go to this one-on-one class or probably any of the others, I would imagine.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we offer any of the classes during the week are great for people who are, looking to start with us or start out a practice. We have options for all of that.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Great. Okay. Well, I hope you guys got some good info on another one of the many great local businesses we have here in Tyngsborough. Again, any questions for them, windsoulstudio.com, or you can contact the ladies at 440 Middlesex Road. And any questions for me, sbrogan@tyngsboroughma.gov. I don't know that much about yoga, so don't ask me yoga questions. But
you can forward them to us.
I'll forward them to the ladies, and they can take care of it. And if you are a business, a local here in the town of Tyngsborough, located in the town of Tyngsborough, I got to clarify that one. Feel free to email me if you would like to be part of this segment and tell the residents here about what you do and why you do it and all that fun stuff. So email me, sbrogan@tyngsboroughma.gov, or you can send me a message through Facebook. Either way is fine. Other than that, folks, I hope you guys have a great rest of the day, and I will see you all next time. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe all of these great programs because it helps to spread this out to the rest of the community. Thanks again, and we'll see you later. Bye.